All right. We are getting it together. Let's get this party started, fellas.
Hey, Jay, turn that up real quick.
Louis Cigars, 1927. It took us probably about 2 years to get here, but right now we feel like we have some of the best cigars on the market. And if you give us a chance, you'll find out.
All right. Welcome, brothers, to another show. Let me be a little more focused in here. Hope all is well. We got a good show today, man. I'm going to go ahead and preface this show real quick. This is not an anti-vaccine, pro-vaccine show about the COVID vaccines or anything like that. This is simply a show about the way they decide to communicate with Black people, okay? So, as many of you already know, most of you already seen, I'm not going to go ahead and show the video, but Juvenile of Cash Money Records, Manny Fresh, and BLK of No Limit Records, I'm not sure if they still signed or whatnot, doesn't matter, did a video, all right, called Back That Vax Up. I believe that's the name of the video. It's a pro-vaccination video that was sponsored by or paid for by the mobile app Black. Now, Black, of course, is not a Black-owned mobile app. It's owned by the same people that do Match. They have a few apps out there, but in particular, they have a Match app. And the people that actually own the platform are, of course, more likely white. The marketing executive is actually Black. I believe his name is Jonathan Kirkland. So he is an African-American brother that is the marketing executive for the platform, the mobile app, the dating app, Black. Maybe some of you guys are familiar with it. I don't live in the States any longer, so I don't have it downloaded or anything like that. I saw them doing a pretty aggressive marketing campaign when they first came out. They have different versions. I think Black is the Black version, basically, but they have a Latino version and other versions as well. So, when I first saw this, I posted it in the Black Men Travels Facebook group, Black Men Travels 2.0, guys. All right. And I immediately got a call from a friend of mine, my business partner out here, Robert Thorne. He asked me, he said, "Hey, man, is that video real?" He said, "Bro, it can't be real." And I said, "Yeah, man, it looks like it's pretty legitimate." He said, "Nah, this is impossible. This has got to be like a parody or something." I'm like, "No, bro, they are dead ass serious." And I had to explain to him that, this wasn't because he thought, okay, it was government sponsored. I said, "No, it's not government sponsored, bro. This is actually sponsored by independent company called I forgot the name of the holding company, but pretty much Match.com. That's the major holding they have within that company." And he just couldn't believe it. And my cat is actually a music industry veteran. So he's been in the music industry. He knows all these guys. He said, "Man, I cannot believe that Juvie did this." And I said, "Yeah, man. We discussed it. We said, working with Baby, Cash Money, we already know how some of the artists didn't get their fair share, more than likely." So he said in his interview, because this is going viral across all the platforms right now. He said that Black actually reached out to him to remix that song about the vaccine. So of course they paid. We're not sure how much they paid, but they definitely paid. Let me go ahead and get to some of these comments, and we're gonna go ahead and get the roll. I'm gonna bring some people on in this show as well. He says, "Salute to BMT in the chat. What's going on, K Houghton? How you doing?" Damon Walton said, "Normal rappers who fell off." He says, "Probably set up by Moist Watkins." You know what, Charles Jones? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna respond to this real quick. He said, "Who cares? Y'all read way too much into it. I never thought I'd even hear myself defending this." Man, I think they're being very condescending in the way they communicate with Black people. You don't have to care personally. It's not a big deal. If you take the vaccine, that's your personal choice. If you take it, if you don't take it. But it's just the way they, it's been a lot of backlash, right? There's been a lot of backlash about this video. If you look at the comment section on Juvenile's Instagram, if you look at the comments on Facebook, a lot of Black people are very upset, including myself, about how they remixed this classic to try to promote vaccinations, an experimental vaccination. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there at that. I don't want to get my child taken down or anything like that. But if you look at the CDC website, it's still listed as experimental at this point. And maybe Juvenile doesn't know this. I'm not sure. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that's, really, up to date on the medical or anything like that. I'm not a doctor as well, but I do read. And it's simply, if you just go to the CDC website, you'll see what it is listed as. It's not even considered to be that right now at this point. So it seems like they're trying to push this on minorities, Black and brown populations around the world. In my opinion, we're not going to go get deeply into that because we don't want to get banned or anything like that. It's simply the way they decide to communicate with Black people, which is, like I say, very condescending. If you look at the design of it, you got the little bling bling. It seems like a white person was just like, "Hey, put some bling bling around there too." What do Black people like to hear? Let's take one of their classic songs and remix it to be pro-vaccination. And why would the dating app be even concerned with vaccinations at that? They say if you download the app, it's a lot of COVID vaccine information on there. I believe they were sponsored by a pharmaceutical company that does medications for AIDS as well. So it's very interesting to see, how they decide to put that out there. How it seems like they're making it seem like Black people are the only people that have contracted COVID. Shout out to Vanna Black. You know what? I've been getting a lot of comments about the Black dating app. Now back in the day, dating apps were, they were pretty good if you wanted to go ahead and get laid or something like that. In the States, POF, what was the other one? Tag, Tinder as of late. But I haven't heard too many good comments about the Black dating app. I've been hearing it's pretty trash. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't downloaded or anything like that. But it's interesting to see that it's not Black owned. Once again, it's not Black owned app. It's not a Black owned app. Shout out to MJ Hans III. Yeah, that's the comment right there, bro. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drop a link in the description if any guys want to come on to the show, and we can discuss this. We can discuss other things too. I don't do dating apps. Personally, man, I was a little disappointed. I thought it was a parody as well. I was like, okay, they can't be serious. I know they're not going to think that Black people are going to accept this for what it is. We're talking about the medical industry right now. We're talking about a very serious subject, and they decide to remix a very popular song. People. I never really liked the song. I feel like it was more of a female song. It's a club banger. It's nothing I listen to outside the club. I never play it. The album 400 Degrees is a classic, in my opinion. But for that particular song, I never thought of it, if it was a big deal, more of just a club banger, if anything like that. Shout out to my bro Xavier Lancaster for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that, bro. He says greeting families and Black first. Appreciate that, bro. Once again, I'm gonna drop a link in the description if you guys want to come on and chop it up about it. I'm sure some of you already heard that the Haitian president actually was assassinated. I think it was the day before yesterday. In his home, his wife was shot as well. So prayers go out to that. I don't know too much information about the president. I heard he was well liked, but I heard that he didn't want to step down. So I'm not sure if that's true or not like that. But I did recognize, because people were putting a lot in the comment section when I shared it on the Facebook group, Blackmen Travels 2.0 Facebook group. They were saying that he did not follow a lot of the COVID protocols, and that could have been a possible reason. Now, we don't know as more information comes out about it, but it was, it's very difficult, in my opinion, to assassinate the president like that. Let me welcome on to the brother Mufasa Shabazz on the show. What's
My
going
bad.
on,
I didn't
brother?
know.
There?
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't know I'd get on so fast. What's up, bro?
How's everything with you, bro? You in Africa right now?
Yeah, I am. I am.
Okay, that's
I'm
what's
in.
up, man. That's what's up.
I'm in. I happen to be in Lagos. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria right now.
Okay. How's everything out
Chilling.
there?
It's good, man. It's good. I don't. I'm not a big fan of Lagos, but I'm gonna be leaving Lagos pretty soon, and I'll be moving to the. Well, I'm gonna go to the eastern part, which is in a city called Owerri in Imo
Mm-hmm.
State. Then I'll be going to the capital, Abuja. Abuja is much better. Lagos is like overpopulated, overcharged. Everything costs too much. Traffic, just everything. You know what I'm saying? But if I go to Abuja, it's a lot less. And for my purposes, I'm basically working remotely, so I don't really need to. Why would I be somewhere where I'm paying more money? I may as well go where I'm paying less money. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. You gave me more ketchup, or yeah, please. So yeah. So I'm more comfortable there. I'm paying less. Everything's better. It's more less stress. So, but yeah, I'm in Lagos, man. I'm in Nigeria.
How long you been out there?
So I just got back like 5 days ago. But but I was just here for almost 2 months before. So 2 weeks ago, I went back to U.S. To see and spend some time with my daughter, and I took my daughter to Santo Domingo. Um, Thank you, sir. So yeah, I took my daughter to Santo Domingo after I came back from Nigeria the last time. But she's out of town, something they do on her mom's side of the family where her and her cousins, her sister and everything, they with their aunt in another state. So
Mm-hmm.
since she's not there, I decided to just come work remotely from here until she gets back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My daughter ain't home. There's no reason for me to be over there. That's the only reason I still even live there is my daughter,
Got
to
you.
be honest with you. Yeah.
Got you. And what's going on with the COVID situation in Nigeria?
Man, ain't nothing going on. Don't nobody got no COVID over here. There's no
Mm-hmm.
COVID in Nigeria, but they just using it as an opportunity to extort you, basically. Like the reason I'm in Lagos right now, you have to take a COVID test, and they don't even let you take the cheap antigen test. You have to take the expensive PCR test. They hardly have any cases. It's like the numbers is like a 3-digit, 2-digit number, barely any cases. But you have to take the PCR test before you get here, and then when you land, you're supposed to self-isolate for 7 days, and then you have to take another test, which you pay for in advance, and the test costs like $130. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I had to book my test in advance, and so that's keeping me in Lagos. I didn't really even want to be in Lagos. I wanted to go to Abuja, but the tickets weren't right, so I had to come to Lagos. But now I have to wait in Lagos until I can take my test. Then once I take my test, I'll be able to go. But you have to pay for that in advance. So they just trying to come up, make some money. You know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And did you see the juvenile video?
I didn't see it.
Uh, okay, go ahead. You're breaking up a little bit, but go ahead. Bro, it's breaking up a little bit. He over there in Nigeria. Hey, try to come back in, bro. Try to come back in. Shout out to the one JPTV for the $1.99 super chat, man. He says more targeted propaganda to black folks. I definitely agree with that, brother. Shout out to my bro doing trades. For the $2 super chat, he says, shout out to the bros. Check your DMs, BMT. I will do that. Appreciate that $2 super chat, bro. He's gonna try to come back on. There you go. Oh, he still froze. Bro, try to come back on. I'm gonna go ahead and try to come back on when you get a chance, bro. We got a lot of questions that everybody asking about Nigeria. Brother Black says low value Wi-Fi. I hear you. Hey, when he comes back on, exactly, I'm going to ask him that. How much is the acre of land out there in Lagos, Nigeria? I'll ask him that too, Xavier Lancaster. You asked, can Americans buy property in Nigeria? I believe you can, man. I believe you are able to buy property out there, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Body Thug. Appreciate you stopping by, bro. Let's see. Radar R says the only to get back to normal is to get back to God, period. We are dependent on a man for direction in life instead of God who has given us life. I can agree with that. Shout out to my bro, King Sigma in the building. You there?
Hey, what's up, BMT? Good morning, bro. Or good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too. How's everything going with you, bro?
Oh, man, I'm great. Just taking a break from working on some of this coding stuff, but thought I'd contribute for a couple minutes to this discussion.
Yeah, man. So did you see the Juvenile video?
Yeah, I saw it, parts of it.
He said parts of it. And what was your first mind when you saw it?
That he's broke.
Mm.
That was my first thought, because you might not remember, but a few years back, man, they arrested Juvenile for back child support.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pushing his child supports in arrears was pushing towards $250,000, man.
Okay.
And, you know, me being from Wisconsin, I've seen so many brothers up here, because in our state, in Wisconsin, they're really bad on that child support. Like, they'll arrest you, take your driver's license, and if you get too far in arrears, they will arrest you. But it's different in every state. So, like, I'm in Minnesota right now, and it's not like that here. But in Louisiana, I guess they have a similar law where if you get in arrears, it's a criminal crime down there. It's a criminal conviction possibility, and they will come arrest you. And so Juvenile, you know, he was pushing towards $250,000 in arrears. You see what I'm saying? So I think that he's just broke, you know. And when we talk about the hip hop from the time that like the Hot Boys and Juvenile and them got big, that was pretty much the sellout point of hip hop. Because prior to like that sort of rap that kind of glorified the street life, glorified drug dealing, when you compare it to like Public Enemy, and it was one thing to talk about the life, to be a storyteller of, you know, growing up in the drug era, you know what I'm saying, growing up during the Reaganomics era. But when we got to the point like in the 90s, late 90s, when they started to glorify it as if it was a good thing, then Juvenile and they came on the back of that, of the glorification of the thug life of growing up in the projects and all that. So this isn't no surprise to me, because when we say, is he a sellout? I'm asking, at what point did he stop being a sellout? You know what I'm saying? Hey, your mic's muted, BMT.
No, I say it's interesting because he's never really been a pro-conscious rapper. You know, he's always been preaching pretty much materialism, you know, stuff like that. So all of a sudden, you know, he becomes pro-conscious when he gets paid to do so.
Well,
so,
it's no different than the pimp or the drug dealer that becomes a pastor, is it?
Not at all.
See again, we see this format everywhere, man. That's why when you were saying that you think that it's condescending, it's only condescending. Okay, do you remember back during the election season when they put out, you from Atlanta?
Right, the shake your booty to the
cold. Yeah. So don't you see the trend here?
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's not condescending. It's not condescending because to condescend would mean that you're looking down in your form of communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is actually the way that they believe, based on the majority of blacks' behavior and how blacks respond to the messaging, that this is the way that we communicate with these savages. And then when they're looking at the educational system, in 2021, okay, in the state of California, 75% of black young men, 18 years old, reached the age of 18 reading at a 6th grade level or something like that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the educational level and the reading comprehension and things like that among the majority of blacks, most state governments make their, you know, all of their state documents have to be written at a level for like a 5th grader. There's laws in most states where you can't create like government documents that are for poor people, like social insurance related, that are above a 5th grade reading level. Because see, the expectation now has become that this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a bunch of savage morons. So we're going to give them, get your booties to the poll. Because we can't simply go say, you should go vote for this person on a ticket because of 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we're dealing with some modern savages. So what we do, let's put some strippers on there and get them to talk in a shaming way towards the black male audience, and maybe that'll get them to vote. Now, what we got 6 months later, now you got Juvenile, one of the biggest hits at that time, Back That Ass Up. We talking about Back That Vax Up? Bro. Dude, this is total regression, bro. You know Mike Judge, and he did that movie Idiocracy, remember that?
I remember that movie, yeah.
It's time for us on here to get the money together. We're going to do an Idiocracy 2.0. And it's going to be the blackface version of that shit. Because the black America is definitely the canary in the coal mine for what that movie was pointing out. So it's not condescending. It's condescending if they were talking to BMT or the King Sigma. But if you're talking to the black majority, no, they're actually speaking their language based on their own focus groups. The focus
now, let me say this, King Sigma. There has been somewhat of a backlash from this video. If you look at the comments on Facebook and Instagram, even Juvenile's Instagram, you will see a lot of black people not going for it.
I think those are those like yourself and me and the people in this chat right now. Those are the ones that responded. But again, if it wasn't something that actually worked, why do they keep doing it?
And it was actually the marketing guy is actually a black man. It's actually an African American guy.
Of course it is.
That came up with the whole because Juvenile said black approached him about remixing the song for vaccines. So it's not even Juvenile's idea. This is actually from the brainchild of a black man.
See, I don't think it was the brainchild of a black man. I think the black man is a front man for the powers that be. So again, it's just the same. I heard the same thing when they put out see, again, this is what has happened. These white racists and those that are anti-blacks, what they're doing now, they found out that because of the climate with this technology and how quick we are to respond to things, you got to put black faces in front of everything now. Why you think they're moving back in the political game? You see them putting forward Hispanics, blacks, Asians now, because the powers that be in whites, they say, hey, we got to put blacks in front of all this stuff. So then they'll be like, oh, well, that black dude created that stripper video for the Democrats. No, the Democratic Party cut him a check and said, go put this video out there. And the same thing happened with Juvenile. There's someone else cutting the checks behind the scenes, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's a white-owned platform, most definitely, bro. And it seems when you look at the imagery behind it, you see like the little thumbnail. They got the little diamonds around it. You just sitting there like a white person had to come up with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, put some diamonds around the thumbnail so you can attract them or something. It's very facetious, man.
See, I believe we're just getting started though, bro, because you got to, again, that's why I like using that watermark of that video, because that was the most disrespectful thing I'd ever seen in my life as far as politics. I just never seen them do that kind of commercial on a public television. So they've integrated the hip hop, the whole hip hop thing has been integrated into popular culture to the point where in their view, that is black culture now. Black culture is strippers, single mothers, thugs, and thoughts. That's black culture as far as they're concerned now. So it's not condescending, in my opinion, because we as a blacks in this country have allowed this to happen as a majority, not as individuals, but as a majority. We've accepted this. So they think that they're speaking the language that we understand, and they're going to continue to do it until the black majority rejects it 100%. But you saw the BET Awards situation in last week. What kind? I mean, come on, a total clusterfuck, right? But they still put it out there, did they not? And was it not almost all black people up there?
Pretty much.
So that's what I'm saying, BMT. Like, as long as black people continue to get paid to be viral minstrels, and as long as there's a consumer audience for it, this shit is about to get worse, man. Trust me on it. It's gonna get worse over the next year or two, man, because they're testing the limit. It's like one of the things about white racists, they're all about the scientific method, right? They're all about a theory, observation, and testing and experimenting. So what they're doing, it's like, you know how that Pavlov dog experiment where they used to shock the dogs to see what it would do? That's what they do. They say, how far can we push the boundaries before the black majority rebels against what we're doing to their image and what we're saying about them to the rest of the world? And it's so far, there isn't much of a pushback against this stuff, man. Stop it, man. World Star Hip Hop is the #1 most visited site for the black consumer right now in 2021. Stop it, man.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Prince O with the $4.99 super chat. He says, "Seeing you linking up with my boy JT out here in Colombia. Yeah, shout out to my boy Ja, man. Yeah, for sure. We had a good time, man. Young J says, get the likes up. Hey, bros, you don't want me to play the video again now. You know, don't want me to play the video. Get the likes up. Better Black says, twerking and vaccines simultaneously. Yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat, guys, if you want to come on and chop it up with me and King Sigma about it. Black Haven says, Agenda 2030, don't sell out. So do you believe that Juvenile's a sellout for this video, bro?
And I think he's been a sellout before the video. So he ain't selling nothing out at this point. He sold out a long time ago, man. Again, if you study Hollywood, I always try to point people to that movie with Melvin Van Peebles and his father, the Sweetback movie. Because that was a movie that my stepfather, when I was a child, had showed me, you know what I'm saying? And it's the scene in there where he was trying to explain how Hollywood works and how Hollywood is a very degenerate institution. It's all based on the casting couch, right? This whole it's about power and the ability to exert power and emasculation over men specifically, and especially black men. So to me, my whole default position is that in order to get to a certain level in Hollywood, you're going to have to put yourself in a quote unquote casting couch position as a black man, unless you go total renegade and do it as an outsider and do it totally self-reliant, totally self-funded, which is very possible now in this day and age because of how cheap tech is. But I look at those guys as they're going to do anything for $1, man. Again, how do you sell as many records as Juvenile sold, but then here you are getting dragged into a New Orleans court because you're $250,000 behind on child support. See what I'm saying, bro? Like, they give up their real power in exchange for fame. People assume that fame and real power are the same thing. It's not. You can be powerful and famous, but the most powerful people in the world, you don't even know their name, but they control the people that you do know name.
Very true, man. We got 92 in the building. We only got 30 likes, so I'm going to go ahead and play the video.
See, you should have put right in the back. Yo, guys,
I'm an Indiana move. She an Indiana move. We from Indiana. We from Indiana move. Cut up. Hey. Cut up. Hey.
They need to get vaccinated. Lights up, fellas. Play one more time.
Here, Indiana move. We from Indiana. We from Indiana move. I'm an Indiana move. She an Indiana move. We from Indiana. We from Indiana move. Cut up. Hey. Cut up. Hey.
Hit them lights.
I mean, you can't be serious with this shit, bro. And then you sitting up here asking everyone in the chat, you up here like, hey, did Juvenile sell out? And then you go play something like that. This is
hit that like button, man. Hit that like button for me.
This is your black male image in 2021, bro. You should play it again and go back to the female and pause on her, please. Please play it again, but pause on the black chick. Just pause.
Hey, hold on. We're going to do it one more time. Hold on.
Here, Indiana move. We from Indiana. We from Indiana move. I'm an Indiana move. She a
boom.
She was questioning her entire life and every decision she ever made that led up to this point. And you see that she got the phone, and you know that she's one of you know how those divestors, they got the little divest thing going on with these females. I guarantee she's trying to climb Swirl Mountain after this episode. She's thinking she's on that phone. She's in those white boys' DM like, there's not a ghetto gagging experience that I'm not.
Oh, man, hold on, bro.
Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Hey, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was tough. That was
Do
tough.
you want to get away?
That was tough. Yeah, man. Get those lights up, though, fellas. Shout out to Xavier Lanka. He said those boys had to be vaccinated.
And then this DMT is never asking y'all, do you think Juvenile sold out?
Hey, man. Some bro said she like she right at home to me.
She is at home, but she's rethinking every decision up to this point. She thought she was at home.
Hey, man. Possibly one of her baby daddies. Shit.
I'm sure.
Yeah, man.
But imagine, okay, those dudes got to be in their, what, 30s? What you think?
Probably 30s. Dancing like that, probably 30s, because they too young to do some stupid something like that. So, yeah, probably 30s.
Now, just look at this from the outside, right? Imagine you're like at the United Nations and they're doing like big decisions related to different political situations around the globe, right? So you were just talking about the Haitian assassination the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine this being the representatives of Black America coming in there after a Haitian assassination to sit down to talk politics and money? And these are your representatives?
Mm-hmm.
This is what they think of Black people in 2021, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Like I say, bro, it's very. There's a the funny thing about it is, as it's a black backlash going on right now, the media is promoting it like it's such a big hit, it's such a big success, even though it's only been out for a day. But for the most part, like I say, you look at most of the comments, they're very negative about this video, man.
Well, there's a war going on between the grassroots, what you're doing right now, and with what used to be the mainstream media, because everyone uses this term around here, mainstream media. Well, they're behind the times. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world now, behind Google. This is mainstream. So what you have, they had a monopoly on the conversation because they were a medium by which we communicated with each other and the world, right? Up until like what, the last 10 years? And what's happened since, let's say, 2010, now we are all citizen journalists now. We are all citizen entertainers now. We are all citizen bloggers. This is very revolutionary, okay? So they can put out that kind of message and say, oh, this vax video is the biggest thing happened. They can tell that to the 50-plus-year-olds, but the young people are listening to you right now. And they're listening to the counter narrative that you're presenting, saying, hey, I reject this level of coon minstrel showing. I don't want to be associated with this plantation-like behavior. And so much of the eyeballs are right here. So they're going to tell you that everyone's paying attention. But then if that's the case, why is that ESPN laid off like 20% of their employees just this fall, if that's true then? And they're part of Disney. So you explain that to me, BMT. Why did Disney lay off a quarter of ESPN staff in Q4 2020? Why is that?
Because people are not watching.
They're not watching, but that's not what they're telling you publicly. The only reason that you and I can make that assertion is because we're paying attention to, the stuff that goes on at the financial level, right? So Disney isn't going to put out there in the mainstream, hey, we laid off a third of our workforce over the last year. You got to look at the business news to get that information. Because they're going to keep pushing like there's nothing going on. That's part of their public relations. But if you look every quarter since 2010, all of these large conglomerates have been shrinking every single quarter.
TV and radio, man, it's starting to. It's always going to be around, but it's starting to lose its power to a certain degree. Everything's online right now.
Well, I think that TV has become like radio. So, yeah, people still listen to radio, but it's not TV replaced it a long time ago. So it's a staple in the way that we communicate, right? TV, it'll be a staple for a while, but now people communicate through their smartphones and social media. Now, this is what the internet is, the new media. And old folks watch TV. Man, I don't watch TV, man. Even when I want to stream like a movie, I'm usually watching it on my laptop or something, or on my phone these days. So my TV is more like when I have company come through, But for the most part, I'd rather do it on my phone or my laptop. And I think a lot of people are like that now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're losing so much money, because a lot of those cable company packages, people aren't buying them anymore, man.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. When last time you listened to the radio?
You said what?
When's the last time you listened to the radio?
Well, I listen to the radio when I drive, but I listen to Sirius radio though. So I guess that, to me, that's more like internet, man. Than actual. When you talking about FM and AM radio, I might listen to 91.1, NPR every once in a while. I'll listen to NPR, but for the most part, I'm listening to Sirius, or I'm listening to through my phone or something like that. Podcasts. I like podcasts a lot. So I'll be listening to like a lot of podcasts, but for the most part, I don't really listen to radio unless I'm going to turn on NPR, and that's rare these days. Because again, NPR is not the NPR it was 10 years ago. It used to be a very apolitical kind of outfit, but now they kind of went in a certain kind of direction over the last couple years as well. And I think that whole woke culture is killing everything. There's too much politics in everything now. It's like no escape from it these days. What people underestimate, and I think this is what corporations are learning now, is that people want to separate their politics from their entertainment.
Good point. That is a very, very good point. And I think that's one of the most upsetting thing about being African American, man. It's like, okay, we get that some people might like Cardi B, whatever, and your favorite rapper. That's cool, but stay in your lane. Like when we talk about politics, we talk about the medical industry. We want that to be separate. We want the experts, even when it comes to economics and stock investing. Despite what people say about Boyce, you still would rather listen to him or somebody else in that field than you would say if Cardi B came out with a rap song about stocks. And I think that's the insulting part.
Yes, and so I think what it is that people are trying to be a jack of all trades kind of thing now, and there's some to being specialized, right? Like what you were pointing to with Boyce. His strong suit is talking about financial stuff, but I think that he got like a lot of blowback a couple months ago because of his bad predictions on Bitcoin. So he tried to like move heavier towards the social commentary, and that even backfired even more on him. When he should have just stood on his square and said, hey, I was wrong about this crypto in this situation, but we're going to keep it pushing and learn from this. But instead, to try to cover, he tried to swerve into that social lane, and it hasn't worked out for him very well the last couple of months.
It really hasn't, man. If you look at some of his newer YouTube videos, he has the comments turned off. I didn't even know you could turn the comments off, but you can't even comment on his live streams anymore because he's facing so much backlash.
Yeah, that one video about the stepfathers did him in. That was like the torpedo to his whole little thing that he was doing, because I don't think that he understood the hornet's nest that he was hitting at with that whole stepfather conversation thing.
And the thing is, man, it's like you gotta understand that it's somewhat of a generational gap. I think Voice is 50 plus or something like that, and he's dealing with a different type of woman than the guys in their 20s dealing with right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's number one. Some of my young guys, even guys my age, 30s, late 30s, whatnot, it's like it's just not a good investment for us. It might be a good investment for you. You might be an older gentleman. You might want something to settle down with, snuggle with at the end of the night. That's cool for you. But like you said, we step in that social lane, and he tried to tell brothers, hey, you're basically not a man if you don't accept a woman's children. He got a lot of backlash for that.
Well, that's stupid. Well, then I might as well say to BMT, why don't you take on all my debts right now?
Basically.
It goes against our nature as male, a species. As a species, men tend to want to invest in their own creations, right? So the whole dynamic of a stepfather, it's a liability because you're investing your time.
Boyce is 45. There's no way Boyce is 45.
Man, that dude ain't no 45, man.
He's
the oldest 45 I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
if he's 45, he's like the oldest 45 I've ever seen.
Jesus Christ. I thought he was.
But when you're talking about that resources thing, we're in a country now where resources are hard to come by in 2021. So no one's trying to invest there because, again, you're investing your time, your energy, and your money into to raising someone else's creation. That's a bad investment to me, man.
And it's a personal decision if you decide to go that route, but you shouldn't have to influence people to go that route that you went if you decide to go there.
And what control do you have? Like, it's all on the terms of that woman and those children. Nothing is really on your terms because she can pull those children out of the situation, disconnect you from that relationship at any time she wants to, and walk off into the sunset with all that investment in her children with Pookie. So she had the kid by Pookie. She found a 9-to-5 kind of traditional dude, and when she gets bored with him, she can go find another Pookie once the seeds get to age. So she laid up with the dude that was low character and a low producer. Mm-hmm. Now she needs someone to raise the children and invest. Mm-hmm. She finds that dude, and now once the kids are at a safe age, let's say 13, 14, right? Now it's time to discard you and go back to what she really likes. See, mm-hmm. That's just that's an evolutionary thing, bro. Women are always going to seek security one way or the other, and they're always looking for someone that they can take advantage of. So for him to get out here and put out that message, that was just a stupid move on his part. He didn't need to do anything.
He should just stay in his lane.
Yeah, just stay in your lane. But again, he was trying to prove something, I suppose, to his new wife, I guess. I don't know.
That's what it seems like. And, the funny thing is that I don't know if he dated her early on, but I know he met her early on, at his school in college. And I'm like, bro, if that's the case, you should have never go backwards. You gave her an opportunity to date you. She decided not to date you. And all of a sudden, now that you're older and you're established, now she wants to date you. Red flags, bro. Red flags.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. You ever seen that movie with Nicolas Cage called The Family Man?
I have not seen that one, bro.
That's a good movie. It kind of deals with that whole concept that you just illustrated, where in one scenario, so it's like one scenario, he makes a decision to be with like his college sweetheart over the job. And then in the other scenario, he takes the job over the female. So I'm not going to tell you the story because I want you to check it out for yourself. But it's called The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. And this is what it sounds like Boyce did. Like, he chose the career path that got him to a good place in his life. And he passed, but he wasn't the one making the choice, right? So the female, she made the choice not to talk to him at that time, right? Mm-hmm. Which led him down a path to becoming more of a success and to getting the PhD and all of that. Now, I guess that void was still there because he got rejected by her. And I mean, it is what it is. I guess what you can't have, you desire the most until you get it.
Exactly. Xavier Lancaster, you there, bro?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you perfectly clear, man. How's everything going with you?
All right. Another day in Moscow. Real quick, I wanted to ask a question. I believe I posted it on the comment in the Facebook chat based on this post. Mm-hmm. 10 years from now, do you think that Juvenile will ask for forgiveness from the Black community for such awful behavior? Because we seem to forgive all the time. I remember once upon a time we forgave. When I say we, I don't mean necessarily me and you, but Vanilla Ice. I remember on BET we forgave Vanilla Ice because he finally admitted that he didn't go to school with Luke. He admitted that he wasn't about that gangster life. He wasn't from Miami. He was from Dallas, Texas, somewhere. And lots of other times, Black people, we have forgiven people for this type of, should I say, misbehavior when it comes to representing our community. So are we ever going to forgive? For those of us that understand this is off-code behavior for Juvenile to allow himself to become a tool in this sense, are we going to forgive him 10 years from now? Because I think he's going to admit it. He's going to apologize. Oh, y'all know, what happened was they paid me to act like this and blah, blah, blah. It came up the chain from the establishment. Will we forgive him for doing this type of stuff?
You talking about as far as the Black community, right?
Yes, Black community and perhaps brothers in the chat room, or what do you think? We will forgive him for this? Yes, Black community. Because that's who this thing was geared towards. It wasn't geared towards, the dominant society. It was specifically geared towards Black people to get vaccinated. That's why they took this hit song and decided to do this awfulness with.
I'm not sure, man. I don't think so. I don't think people are going to accept it. This is something very serious we're talking about here. This is not like, how Jay-Z sold out his old neighborhood and regentrified it for the Barclays Center. This is people's lives at stake here. People's legacies. We're talking about having children and stuff like that. So it depends on how it affects the Black community. Will he be accepted, or will he be forgiven? In my opinion, what you think about that, King Sigma?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for the Black community because I'm an individual and I live in a gentrified community. But I can say that I think that if you're talking about the Black majority, then I would say yes, he's already forgiven because he's a celebrity. Blacks tend to forgive celebrities and be bigger watchers of entertainment than any other group in America. So yes, he will be forgiven. But more importantly, when was the last time a Black person bought a Juvenile record? Because I haven't bought a Juvenile record in probably a decade.
Well, I think when Juvenile got caught up, he was one of them artists that when people stopped buying CDs, people stopped buying him. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't cross over to the streaming.
Yes, and that's what I mean. So it's like for him, y'all haven't bought his records in 10 years. So who is he really beholden to? He's an entertainer, a former entertainer, I guess you could say. Where are they now type entertainment category? But he's looking at who's buying his record. And right now, the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services is putting a much needed check in his pocket. So no, he ain't worried about no forgiveness of the Black community because he has the dominant society on his side right now. So why would he care?
Yeah, I'm sure they paid him pretty decently too. But Xavier, I want to ask you this, Xavier. You said you in Moscow, right, bro?
Yeah, I live in I live in Bulgaria, but yeah, I travel. I'm all over Eastern Europe. I'll be doing the bike ride soon. That I'm waiting for my T-shirts to come in, my BMT T-shirts, so I can, before I go on my, I do a tour. I always ride from Bulgaria to London. I always do that every summer. So
appreciate the support, bro. But tell us a little bit about Moscow and everything out there, bro. How's everything for you out there? Being a Black
we could do a show. We could do a show.
Yeah, we do a whole show about this.
It's going. I'm gonna definitely have to be long-winded about it because I'm explaining how a lot of Nigerians. I mean, man, some good brothers. Very good and helpful brothers. I'm explaining how I get treated from people of the African diaspora in America versus getting treated from African people who live abroad, who live outside of the U.S.
Okay.
I meet Nigerians in Germany. I meet a lot of Africans or Black people, period, around Europe. And it's like the treatment is entirely different. I mean, you are automatically a brother. You get invited over for dinner. So it's a lot of things too. I think it would definitely go off topic, but yeah, it'll definitely be a separate show for that. Which I know you reached out to me, and I'm definitely going to get this stuff going soon, shortly.
Yeah, man, because you post a lot in the Blackmen Travels 2.0 Facebook group.
Yes, I contribute. You know what it is. I don't see anyone from Eastern Europe, or if they are people from Europe, period, in the group, I don't see them posting anything or contributing as far as understanding how, helping people understand that there's Black people that are in Europe, and they're Black people that want to show you, look, here's what's going on in Europe. Because the responses that I get from the things that I do post is, do they like Black people? Do they like Black people? I heard they're racist. Do they like Black people? So it's just the comments I have to respond to. That is, times are different than before, perhaps. People watch TV now. People are into the internet shows and other things that I posted, which I'd rather just keep in the Blackmen Travel private group, that is, and not say things on YouTube about that. But yeah, so it's I definitely do that, and I definitely want for people to know in the group that how it is here versus a lot of other places, but yeah, it's interesting. You see a lot of Black people in places you would never ever think. I specifically say Nigerians because it's 250 million people in Nigeria, which is 1 in every 4th African you meet is a Nigerian. That country alone has 250 million people. So anytime I do meet Black people or mixed people, when I say mixed, I mean people that are mixed with whatever country I'm in, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's Moscow, whether it's Bulgaria. I always meet people, and all of their fathers just happen to be Nigerian. So I'm like, oh, okay, Nigeria, okay, yeah. So a lot of them say they don't know, but their mothers think that they're from Nigeria. So it's a lot of black people that are around in Europe. You know,
That's interesting, man. What's the COVID situation out there in Moscow?
nothing. They don't. Entering into the country, they asked for a test. I think. I don't think they really did. They don't. They're not really too keen on asking for tests at all. And I think they just opened it back up last week. They just opened it up to foreign travelers because brothers in a group were saying that they're not allowed to travel. Some brothers looked into it, and I said, "Hey, you could travel now, so anyone can come. Well, you have to get a visa, but sort of like how you used to have to do visas for Brazil back in the days. But as far as COVID situation, it's not. No one cares. It's sort of like the brother the brother that's in Nigeria right now, who was on the stream earlier. He said it's no. It's the same thing. It's like nothing. Like nobody cares. Everybody walks around, no mask. I mean, people wear it if they want to, but it's not like how it is in Colombia, where most people walk around with a mask on, or it's mandatory. It's like whatever. They seem not to be. No one seemed to care about it, and you don't hear much about deaths from it. So if it is, they're not talking about it on the news.
Okay, I want to ask you one more question, and we'll get back to the subject of the show.
Sure.
Is Russia worth traveling to for brothers?
I'm here.
Okay. I think I can do that.
Okay, so let me answer it. Let me give that one a much better, more in-depth answer. And this one might seem a little out there, but any brothers that got a Karen fetish, Becky worshiping fetish, brothers, this is it. At no cost to your life. What it is. Some countries are, and I don't want to bring up the topic of sex, but some countries are liberal, are very liberal when it comes to sex. Like it's Latin American countries, they're not going to sit there and look at you like, hey, what are you doing with our women? Things of that nature. So when it comes, Russia is definitely one of them. Eastern Europe, period, in my opinion. Eastern Europe is definitely one of these places where you don't have to worry about any of that.
That's very interesting. Brand, we're going to have to do a show. I don't want to get too far off the subject, but we're going to definitely do a show, man.
I got you. You reached out to me. It's my fault. You reached out to me. I will get, because I live in Bulgaria, so when I get back to Bulgaria, I'll definitely, we'll definitely chop it up. Because when my shirts come in, because I got it going to because I don't think they ship out here, so I got it going to an address in Texas. Then the shirts are gonna get shipped to me, and then I could start preparing for the ride.
Nice. Citizen Lou, you there, bro?
Yeah, what's up, bro? Can you hear me? My line's
good. What's good, man? What's going on with your favorite artist, bro?
Oh, you talking about Juvenile? Man, bro, all them 400 degrees cats, all them New Orleans cats is a disgrace. But they all a disgrace, bro. Birdman really did them dudes dirty, man. That's why you gotta be your own dude, like Master P did, bro. You gotta own your own master. You're gonna be out here doing this shit for $500, selling out people. I wanted to say this real quick because nobody really touched on it. Aaron, I sent you a email with a photo that I kind of is very important to what I'm about to say. Could you open it up real quick? It's about the topic.
I'll check it out. Let me check it out.
And because look, man, what they're doing is kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like what the Nazis did. Like they're trying to change the conversation and the culture to where, like, if you don't have a vaccine, you're like the scum of the earth. You're the scourge of the society. You should be detained. You should be in prison. You should be treated bad. You should be shamed until you get it. So, and this is just a part of it. This is like, because that photo I sent you when you posted it, bro, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Like, this is getting like just crazy. And I just don't understand why. Well, I do understand, but I would say like the fact that black people just keep falling for this nonsense. Bro, I know black people, they're on their third vaccine, bro. They third.
I mean,
That's crazy.
Greetings, Citizen Lou.
what's that? Xavier? Oh, what's up, bro? What's up, bro?
What's up?
Now I gotta go out there to Russia, man. You know, I gotta get out there with them hackers, man. I gotta see what y'all. Is it true, bro? Hey, wait, is it true in Russia, man? You can't even connect to the Wi-Fi in Russia because you scared.
Who told you? Bruh, man.
They said them hackers. I know that's just propaganda. I'm just talking.
Real quick before I forget. When you say that about them, you know, the type of tactics that they're using to actually get people vaccinated, when them using juvenile in that kind of sense, wouldn't you think that's more of making a mockery of hip hop when they're doing that?
That's how I'm taking it. That's how I'm taking it.
That's a good point, Xavier, because hip hop was actually supposed to fight the system, right? It was supposed to be the voice of the people. Now it's the voice of the corporation or the establishment.
It's always like that, though, Lou. I mean, if you think about it, like, I remember my stepfather, he passed away in December. And man, I used to always ask him about like his youth and what happened to like the Black Panthers and all these people that came out of that Black Power movement with like Stokely Carmichael on that. And he told me a simple line. He said, they got jobs. And his reason for explaining that to me was that what happened is that people got money, right? They got access to what they really always wanted, validation from the same dominant society that they complain about. So, I mean, when you talk about hip hop, yeah, they were fighting against it in the beginning, but then ultimately they became a part of the same Borg and the same Matrix that they were fighting against, because it's that whole thing from 300. And I love that scene with Ephialtes and Xerxes, and when he betrayed the Spartans. And I always keep that model in mind when Ephialtes betrayed the Spartans, because he would wanted to be a Spartan, but when it came for him to have to make a sacrifice of his own, he said, forget these Spartans. This dude Xerxes said he's going to give me all of this gold. He's going to give me this high status. He's going to give me access to better box. I'm taking this deal. And ultimately, that's why blacks really haven't made any progress in 65 years. Zero. As a black majority, they've made zero progress across all economic indicators in 65 years, because ultimately there's something about the need of the American black to be accepted by that same group that he rails against. I'm telling you, it's a fact.
That's right. You're right about that.
You're familiar with the Tuskegee experiment?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, people like that didn't happen. Like that's just
they got paid. That woman got paid. The chick that was involved with the white doctors, she got a check.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID vaccine, ain't that a swirl? Oh, my bad, Xavier. I was gonna say this real quick. I think it's a swirler chick, right? Who hate black men. She hates black men. And she's an AKA, the same sorority Kamala Harris is in.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the bed wench sorority. If y'all familiar with the
that's the escort. They're the escort sorority too. You know they got exposed for their escorting service.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, I think that was down in Atlanta, wasn't it?
Yep, it was.
Not just Atlanta. It was a couple of their little spots a couple years back that got exposed. Because I remember they had that big thing against the fraternities and the sororities when I was in college. Because they were suspending a lot of the fraternities and a lot of the sororities, because with the men, it was due to hazing and a couple deaths. But with women, it was a couple of their little chapters that got exposed for being prostitutes. So that's part of their culture.
Yo. What are you gonna say though, Xavier?
Well, it is Greek, right?
Yeah.
Greet the freaks. Yeah, I just wanted to say how there are plenty of instances where the black community should be cautious when it comes to the government trying to promote and impose certain vaccines upon us, because that's what lured them into being with the experiment. That's what lured them into that, was them being told that what they were told, that it was it was a vaccine for the Tuskegee experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And they were being misguided. They were being actually misled, but they were straight up lied to about what the vaccine was for.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it's like, did we forget as a community? Have we forgotten the history?
Man, I had a very long, I guess, debate, argument, whatever you want to call it, on Facebook with some sisters about that. And they try to explain to me, and it's the exact same organization. After they was exposed, they changed the name. So the CDC is the exact same organization that did that executed the Tuskegee experiment. And it's proof of this. It just changed the name. And black people will still argue you down about it. Like, it's just strange to me, man. It's this Stockholm syndrome that's just unreal here.
Like,
America.
You know what kind of kills me, right? Like, when it comes to black people arguing numbers and statistics, like, let's just say you bring up like police brutality or something, right? Or black or just any black on black crime. I'm just using that example, right? Those numbers are fake, right? But when you bring up like numbers like people dying, not that many people dying from from the virus, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how we can look at one, like, COVID numbers are real, but these numbers are fake. Like, we choose which math we want to believe in or whatever. It's so annoying.
Have you looked at the analytical reasoning scores for American black students in the last 10 years?
I mean, from just my personal experience, it can't be that high.
Because I've done a couple uploads with a brother that's in medical school right now named Dr. Phoenix, and we talk a lot about this, with the standardized testing, with the test scores, because he's there in academia right now, and it's way worse than you could ever think, Lou. Like, way worse. So when you guys are struggling because you're not accepting the actual fact. If you look at the testing scores for Black American kids, and you look at their ability to reason and comprehend, it all makes perfect sense to me, man. Why they, you can't have a debate with them that's in good faith, because what they.
But you know what though? But who I was actually arguing with was the educated people. Actually,
and that's what I was going to say.
So when you say educated, but here's the thing though, BMT. See, your definition of education and what I consider educated is different, because I look at the standardized test scores. So, for example, someone just having a degree, they might have a degree in something like sociology, but it's not a degree in economics or finance or statistics. So,
I disagree with you about the standardized test, bro, because a lot of because they kind of like debunked this, because like what was it, Harvard? They had all those rich kids cheating, getting into Harvard on it, because I don't think standardized tests is a way to gauge intelligence. I think it's like creativity, ability to learn things, problem solving, logic. I think those things can be nurtured, but my opinion is that our culture doesn't really promote it that well. You get what I'm saying? So that's why shit's so bad, because like we just listen to people just listen to their mamas and
well, it's not either or though. You're right, and I'm right, because again, you got to understand though, there's not one face of intelligence. I don't remember that doctor that wrote that book. I think
it's like 8. It's like 8 different ones.
Yeah. There's 8 forms of intelligence. So you're right, and I'm right. See, there's analytical intelligence. Then there's the kind of creative intelligence that you're talking about, or intrapersonal intelligence, aesthetic intelligence. So it just depends on which face of intelligence you're talking about. I'm talking about the intelligence in terms of being able to break down logical conversations. So in that way, it does matter. But when you're talking about the creativity that you're talking about, that would be like artistic intelligence, right? Like someone that's a good actor, or someone that's good with music, or that type of thing. That's the kind of artistic intelligence, which is a form of intelligence. But you brothers were saying that you're wondering why these people can't put together a logical debate type of conversation and argument. And I'm telling you that's because they're low in analytical intelligence and reasoning. That's where they're low at, in that form of intelligence. But they're high in the form that you're talking about, Lou, creative intelligence.
And I think the analytical part comes from like the father, because you notice like a lot of people who are analytical and logical, they have a father who can sit them down and make sure they created a problem, because it just seems like people do not want to just look at the numbers. And like how we talk about you can't sue Moderna if something goes wrong. Like why would you take a vaccine that you can't, the company's not liable for, and they made billions of dollars off of it? That's like going to McDonald's and they putting razor blades in burgers, and you can't like ran every 1 million burger or whatever, they put razor blades in it, and you can't sue them. Anyway, I just can't.
Well, see what they do. The government uses their power of violence, because in a way, that's what's been happening, is that they're starting to say that you can't even get certain jobs now if you don't get it, right? So
yeah, you had a whole staff of a hospital stuff that quit because
and they're gonna the military, they're gonna force the army to get it.
See, and so that's how they do it, because what they do, they put you in a situation where they give you the illusion of that you have a choice. But what they do, they start to restrict your movements more and more and more. And since we're here on the Travel Channel, now some countries are saying that if you're coming from the United, like I think Canada has barred all foreigners from coming there without a vaccine, without the vax. See what I'm saying? So they give you the illusion of choice.
Right. No,
So you don't have to get it, but if you don't get it, you can't go to the military. You can't have a job in the hospital. You can't get a job in the government. You can't visit. You can't travel anywhere. So then you end up in a situation where you're stuck. Now they're saying, well, there's two Americas. You heard that Nincompoop, Fauci come on there and say that we now have two Americas, vaccinated and unvaccinated. And at that point, that was a declaration of war against the individual free-thinking person.
Yep, it's like you're right. It's an uncivil war now.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely all planned. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sum up the show. We've been at it for a little minute now. Everybody's closing thoughts. I'll start off with you, King Sigma.
To me, it's like the situation with Juvenile. It's par for the course. It's just consider it to be episode 2, a continuation of the Get Your Booty to the Poll. And I guess I'll be waiting for you to drop a panel link for episode 3 because it's just gonna get worse over the summer. We're in the summer, and you know how hot summer is in America. So with that, you have a good one, bro. Peace to you, Lou, and Xavier. You guys have a good one too.
All right, bro.
Peace and be one.
Xavier, you want to go ahead next?
Okay,
Closing
so
thoughts.
yeah, so the closing thoughts. I believe I put believe I said and the Coon Awards go to and the Coon Award goes to.
Say Coon Award.
Yeah, like I said, I believe sounds like something Joe Biden wrote, similar to him writing the '94 crime bill. Bill Clinton signing it. And I just want us to be aware of how we, the Black community, always forgiving people for this type of behavior. I think we need to ask ourselves, are we going to continue to do this? Forgive people and take pictures with people when we see them and not, confront them about these type of issues. And also, again, it goes to show you that the American matrix are involved in, sponsoring music videos. American government's behind the type of music that's out now. And they've probably been behind all that type of garbage that's been, infecting our community. The record labels rewarding these, people who's misbehaving, thugs, as you want to call them, dudes walking around with their pants hanging down or wannabe thugs. They're not real thugs. I believe the white man's a real thug. But anyway, so I really want us to just be cautious of these things. And that Juvenile video is just a prime example as to how the government actually do sponsor music videos to try to persuade us in a certain direction. We must be cautious of these programs at work as Black people. Be one, Black first.
Man, good point, man. And I'm a DM for that interview too, bro.
You got it, brother.
All right. Appreciate you coming on.
Hey, yo,
Citizen Lou.
Peace out, Citizen Lou. Peace.
All right, Xavier, man, you have a good one, bro. I might be out there in Russia soon.
Looking forward to it, brother. I live in Bulgaria, but looking forward to it. I'll just mute the mic, and I'm listening to you on your closing thoughts.
All right, brother. Well, Aaron, let me just say this, man. Good stream, bro. We all touched on it, but just to send it all home, bro, can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Can you play the Vaccine Boys?
The vaccine. Oh, hold on. Hold on, I got a photo.
Let's just play the send it all home.
Indiana move. We from Indiana. Indiana move. We from Indiana. We some Indiana move. I'm an Indiana move. She an Indiana move. We from Indiana. We some Indiana move. Hey. Come on. Hey.
I appreciate it, bro. All right, bro. I'll catch you later, Aaron. Hey,
right,
Aaron,
man.
I gotta hit you up, bro, about something, bro.
All right, cool.
I'll meet you on the back chat, bro. All
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.
All right, fellas. That's another show. Peace.